group. People can come in and out as they desire. However, we do ask that you keep any information that is obtained in this group. Please keep that confidential. And strictly for the group. Um, that's pretty much it on the confidentiality. It's something that we really value. Okay. So do we have anyone that would be okay with sharing their goal?
I'll go.
Abstract Allen, thank you.
Yes, my goal after this session is to find ways or steps to become less impulsive or reactive when handling stress or confronting stress.
I think that is a very direct and concrete goal. I think that's a really good goal. It's very specific. Absolutely. What do you guys think about that?
I like that.
Yeah.
Mine is similar.
Yours is similar?
Sure.
Thank you.
I guess I'll go next.
Yeah, we would love to hear that, Joyce Alyssa.
My goal would be to manage my stress in a more healthy way, like exercising.
I like that. Yours is to manage your stress in a healthier way, like through exercising, and that is a great way to manage stress. We're actually going to talk about that a little bit later. I'll share. My goal is to use a new strategy that a new strategy that we hopefully maybe learn here to manage any stress and tension in my body that I'm aware of.
Well, my goal is just to learn more, coping mechanisms that deal with, to deal with my high level stress and anxiety, and how to be able to speak to others about, what I'm going through as far as anxiety and stress, and not having to, be embarrassed or ashamed of it, about what I'm going through. So.
Absolutely. Thank you. I think that's a really great goal. What do you guys think?
I like that goal.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so here we go. Let's do a little bit about the information now that we have our goal set. And guys, thank you for sharing. That's something that not everybody's comfortable with, so that's pretty brave of us. I like that. Let's get a little bit of information, a little bit about what stress is. I'm gonna always set my timer so that we can, maximize. What is stress exactly? I think we all pretty much know what it is. Even if we don't have the words, we know what it feels like. But basically, it's our body's reaction to any type of threat, and that can come in the form of physical or emotional. I think in our, dynamic where we all tend to share a common concern or a common theme here is that stress, when it comes to physical, may not be a bad thing. If you're walking and you see a lion, the type of what the body does, when it experiences stress, increase in the heart rate, the blood pressure rises, the temperature, everything, it puts you on fight or flight, and it's on fight. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you're running from a lion, you want that extra boost. You get that adrenaline. You're going to need it. However, when you're feeling a threat that is not physical, that is more of an emotional, mental, it's the equivalent of like revving the car, but in park.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds very intimidating. However, is kind of damaging over time, and that energy has nowhere to go, and it builds into the body. So this is what we are. This is what the stress is, and it manifests itself in forms of anxiety at times, depression at times. You get headaches, digestive, gastrointestinal issues, bloating, constipation, appetite fluctuations, whether that increase or decrease, weight gain. Short-term memory loss, if you have trouble remembering things off top, it just come in forms of everything. Hair loss, the list goes on and on. Abstract Allen is funny. So with that being what stress is, what it does to the body, you notice a tightening in certain parts, clenched jaws, clenched hands, hunched up shoulders, that's one. Let's see here, shortened, faster breaths. Your breaths aren't as deep. They're more on the, on the shallower end because the body temperature raises because the heart beat, the heart rate raises. However, you've noticed your body really isn't doing anything. But on the inside, it is just revving up. And then it gets to the tension. Tension is the emotions held in the body over time because we don't have a release for that, which is why we're going to learn about some strategies and whatnot. So yeah, I just got some signs. Also moodiness. I don't know if you... I didn't point to you, Julius. If I did, it was not on purpose. So is that something that you personally can identify with,
Yeah,
however?
for sure.
Yep, me too.
I think every female, not to be like stereotypical, like come on.
Yep, I agree. It's times where I can just feel the mood just immediately change, and it's almost kind of like, oh man. Do you guys any experience that too? Is that just a lady thing?
I'm not saying just the lady thing, but Abstract Allen has not experienced that.
Abstract Al has not. What about you?
Oh, I've experienced it all the time.
Yep. So I guess it's just an abstract thing, huh? Kind of just does abstract thing. All right. So just a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna open up the floor to discussion. Try a couple of techniques. See how we feel about them, and then we'll be closing out soon. Okay. So we've got about maybe 11 to 12 minutes left. Let's go ahead and get the floor open with a couple of questions. But before I do that, I wanted to read to you some information that I found on top causes of stress. And of course, we're specifically meaning emotional, the type we're feeling. Number 1 was job. Number 2, money. Number 3, relationships. Number 4, health concerns. Number 5, poor nutrition. Just all that fast food and the way we eat. Number 6 is media overload, like social media, just getting too much of that.
I can see that.
And number 7, overall, sleep deprivation. And of course, when you're stressed, who's sleeping when your mind is going a mile a minute? And it's like as soon as you lay down,
Start thinking of all that.
you think of a master plan. A master plan that conquers nothing but gives you more anxiety and stress. So, let's just open this up a little bit and talk about what are some things that causes us the most stress right now in our lives. And feel free to kind of think and, speak as you will.
Well, for me, my biggest stress causer would be my career, my job.
Your job,
Yes.
ranking number 1 on that list. You guys,
Yes.
anybody sharing the same one? Job as well. And if I may, job as well. Feel free to elaborate on that a little bit more if you like. What about it?
I feel I'm becoming stressed because I feel as if they're gearing my bosses are gearing us towards a expectation that's unachievable. So that's why I feel as if as an educator that everything should be geared towards our students, and at this moment it's not. It's they're comparing us to other schools and not focusing on our campus as a whole, which causes stress on my behalf.
Whoa, okay. Anybody able to resonate with something Abstract Allen said about that?
I definitely feel the same Abstract Allen as far as career-wise, but I think since I'm in SPED, like the expectations are so different, that's not what stresses me out. What stresses me out is like I'm a perfectionist. So I think because I'm so much a perfectionist that when I do one little thing wrong, it like ruins everything for me. It makes me feel like I didn't do anything right. So I think this year has been a little bit rougher for me. And it was a huge adjustment period. And I think it's easy as people and educators to be like, oh, screw it, I don't care. Like, it's not going to bother me, but it really does. Because it's your job. And it's people's kids that you're dealing with. So you want to do it right.
So, 2 educators, did I pick up on that?
Yes.
Awesome. I didn't. Nice dynamic here. Let's see. Anybody? What causes you stress in your job or in your life?
My life, the fear of failing, that's what causes me the most stress. You know, I look at people I went to high school with, or look at people in my family, and I know that's not what I want to. I don't want to end up like that. I don't want to be another statistic. Be on drugs or go, be incarcerated. And I sometimes I set so much like high expectations for myself that I get too stressed out, and I don't stay focused on the goal that's at hand, and it's just I want to make my family proud and the people who I love proud, and that's what causes me the most stress right there. Is just
Okay.
feel it, you know.
And when you say failing, it's specifically like it's like with the job or with the money or relationships, or is it a combination?
It's a combination of those things.
And I can understand that. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I could definitely attest to that. It's almost like when you know you got people looking at you, watching you and whatnot, and furthermore setting examples for the ones lower, you know, the coming up under you. That can be kind of stressful at times. So I understand that. And even though you speak of that on a personal level, I kind of feel like it kind of resonates toward the educators too, because in a sense, you guys are very influential, you know, to the youth, you know?
This is true.
So that pressure it's almost indirect, but it's an underlying one, you know? So I can get that. What about you, Joyce Jalissa?
I definitely agree with Justin too. I think that that feeling of like I have to be the best, do the best all the time, or else you suck. You know,
Right,
that's
right.
kind of the society that we live in,
Mm-hmm.
and it's even like it said. Like I feel like those things cause stress. Like too much social media can totally cause lack of sleep because you're on your phone scrolling, and statistics have shown that it makes it harder to sleep if you're on your phone
True.
before you go to sleep. So I think like it's a combination of a lot of things where you're looking at these perfect images on social media, and that's what you're supposed to be. So you go to sleep thinking about that, and then you can't sleep, and then you're just unproductive. It's just a cycle.
Absolutely. I
And
can see that.
yeah, perfectionism is a cycle.
Looking at it, comparing yourself to
Right.
stuff that you see portrayed to you all the time, but then looking at, and yeah, that makes sense. How do you notice the stress and tension like in your body? What changes do you notice? I can start for me. Certain situations, especially let's say a work situation, let's say it's one that kind of gets under my skin a little bit, I immediately notice my heartbeat. My heartbeat is the first thing that I notice because it makes me breathe different, and I try to be very in tune with my breath. So I'll notice how something makes me feel by the way it like tugs at my chest. Does that make sense? So I guess my heart, my breathing is what I notice first, and after that, if it depends on what it is, I'll notice my temperature get a little hot too, and depending on what it is, it could keep going and going and going, or I could, you know, identify it and address it, you know, look at it and talk myself down. But what changes do you all notice? And feel free.
For me, I start to sweat a lot, and then I start to, you know, I can't stay still.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I keep fidgeting around, so that for me is what changes.
Okay, so that changing temperature fast. Yes, for sure. Do you feel yourself breathing a little differently? Yes, for sure. It raises that blood pressure on you too. That's that fight or flight. How do we address it? Does anybody have any techniques that they do personally?
I don't think it's a technique so much right here. It's just like coping mechanism I've learned ever since I was like a kid. It's not necessarily a technique or a positive way. I think it's more like a coping mechanism that I've shown myself over time, and that's just if I feel stressed or like I think I'm really in tune when something irritates me or bothers me to the point, and I just shut off. So I think that's my mechanism is just shut it off. I don't care. I'll deal with it when I calm down and I'm not so irritated, so I can handle it the right way. Because I feel like if I deal with it in that moment in time, I'm going to do something I'm going to later regret. So I'd rather just shut off.
That makes sense. Absolutely. So it's almost like you give yourself a personal cool off. Personal cool off time so that you can allow these signs or, you know, symptoms of it to kind of subside before reacting. I think that's very wise. Raise your hand if you've ever feel like you've overreacted before. Absolutely. So I think indirectly that's something that, you know, maybe we could take away. I know I do. I think I'm gonna, from here on out, think about giving myself a cool off moment. whether it's a window of 5 seconds or 5 minutes, whatever